What obstacles have you faced in achieving your goals, and how did you overcome them?
Well, my biggest obstacle, I'm going to say, has been the vision loss and the lack of understanding, not necessarily on my part, but on others, of what it actually means and what people are still capable of. People think about disabilities, and for some reason, disability seems to go along with like cognitive deficits. They feel like there's more to it than just you're in a wheelchair or you're visually impaired or you're hearing impaired. They don't
Mhm.
actually understand the person, and that the person can still have drive and still be intelligent. So I think that starting with wanting to go to college, um, my family, supportive as they could be, but felt that why would I go to college? What was I going to be able to do? Maybe I should just stay home and take care of the kids and be a good wife and those kinds of things. And didn't really support me in the beginning when it came to going back to school. How are you going to overcome getting, because if you can't drive yourself, or if the books aren't in large print, which they weren't,
Mhm.
how are you going to do this? Maybe you should just stay home where we can give you rides, and so that was an initial obstacle. And then later, after receiving education, it became I had to prove myself to the hospitals where I worked, or I worked in brain injury for a number of years, which I absolutely adored. This was still in the Chicago area. And I always, even though when I hire somebody, they're always on, right, a probation for 3 months, but this was deeper. They wanted to see that there weren't going to be any major issues
Mhm.
related to my vision. Nobody wants to, it's changing, but people are afraid of vision loss, and that maybe there's going to be a fall and they're going to get sued, or they're going to
Mm.
have to provide me with special equipment, or,
Mhm.
you know, things like that. And so I always had to prove myself. And that became an obstacle, but it also became a jumping off point for me, in that I know I can do these things. And so I'd have to go in and be very sure of myself that I can do this job. It's not about my vision. And so over the years I learned, and I went back to school and got a degree in healthcare administration so that I would be better at what I do. Um, I don't have to prove myself anymore. And so I feel like that obstacle has gone away. But yeah, having lost my vision, first I had to get over myself and get self confidence again, because
Mhm.
it was tough in the beginning. You
Mhm.
don't know where you're gonna land. As we were just talking about, you can look back, but you can't see forward, and so you don't know what's going to happen. But I had to gain confidence in myself, and I've been very fortunate then to now be surrounded by people who support me.